Welcome to my studio, A Touch of Blue. You are welcome to join us today with Drawing with Grandma with Ion Art's focus on sketchbook drawing. Today, let's sketch some birds. The first thing I want to do is to shape the head. And you can watch this video and then redo it with your sketchbook and practice yourself. The first thing I want to do is to sketch an oval, which is like an egg shape. Just pretend you're drawing an egg and do it very lightly so that you can make corrections with your lines later. I'm going to place the beak. Birds have different sizes of beaks, so you want to look at pictures of birds and decide which bird you want to draw. But it's always good to start with the big shapes first, which is the head, and then the beak and the body, and not to focus on detail, but to focus on getting the big shapes placed first. That center line of the beak where it opens is where the eye is placed. Just follow that line out and you'll see where the eye would be placed on a bird. You can add some shading, some light feathery marks with your pencil. Then you can start darkening some of those lines. But don't go too dark at first because sometimes you want to make corrections. I'm going to move this over so you can see more of the body shape now. And I'm going to begin building the shape of the wing and the tail. See how lightly I draw it first and almost let it skim over your paper. Practice doing that because it helps to gain control of your hand from what your eye is seeing. Gives you a little bit more freedom than just outlining something. I'm going to add some little claws on him. He's going to be grasping a little branch. And so I'm going to go out and then move the little branch toward the viewer. Now let's do another bird. This one is going to be looking the other direction, and we also are going to start this one with a oval. And this is going to be a kingfisher bird, and the beak is much longer on the kingfisher. You might want to look at pictures of them. They're beautiful, and they have beautiful patterns on their head and their wings. So we started with the oval, then built the beak right out of there, found where the opening of that beak is and follow that line out, and that's where the eye is. You might want to study birds and see the placement of the eye in relationship to that opening of the beak. And the eye is important because it helps to build the other parts, the cheek and the top of the head. Remember to draw very lightly at first until your shapes are correct. And remember, you can try this over and over again in your sketchbook. It's the wonderful thing about having a sketchbook is that you don't want to worry if you make mistakes or if it's not perfect, because just like a musician has to practice their instrument and to learn theory, the scale and all the things that we struggle with trying to learn music, an artist also needs to study some of the technical things about drawing. And the main thing is, of course, practice. And so the sketchbook is a great way just to practice drawing shapes, practice learning what your pencil can do, light and dark, pressure, uh, getting the value range, shading, pencil techniques that create different textures. So please use your sketchbook, and of course, let's erase out a little bit of the excess lines that I made. And so again, just make your sketchbook a fun thing to do, not a pressure on you. It's a fun daily practice of just gaining skill, learning to look at nature and objects, and practicing to draw them so that you train your hand to respond to what your eye is seeing, and you gain confidence in your sketching. Let's build a wing here and just add a little hint of the texture of the feathers, but not too much. Let's just keep it as a sketch. Let's do one more bird, and let's see if you can figure out what it is I'm drawing. We're going to start with a circle this time, and we're going to use another geometric shape on it as well. We're going to create kind of a triangle, an upside down triangle that's kind of angled to the left here to build the head. So I did a circle. I'm going to move this over so you can see better. I'm sorry. A circle with a triangle, and then I'm building two ears. It looks right now like it's a cat, but it isn't. Let's see if you can figure out what it is. This kind of bird has very large eyes, and again it follows that center angle from the beak that we'll draw in a minute. Follow that line out, and we're going to create this hook-like beak. Now can you tell what it is? Okay, so out of our circle, now we're going to start building more of the head from that base circle shape. I think you'd be surprised in nature how many geometric shapes we find within animals, within organic forms. There's geometric shapes everywhere. And sometimes drawing is easier when you look for those geometric forms to build first. So in this owl drawing, we see a circle, and for the head, we see circle in the eyes, we see triangle for the patterns, we see a triangle in the beak and the ears. And to learn to see those helps with your overall drawing approach. His head is turned a little bit, which does make it a little bit harder than if we did one looking straight at us. But I'm confident that you can do it with practice. And now maybe you can go and look at books that have pictures of birds and just practice them today in your sketchbook. Thank you for joining me today with Drawing with Grandma, Eye on Art.